Hi everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Nicolas Turpot and I will present to you today the paper called Limitations of Weak Labels. This work have been done with Romain Cerizel and Emmanuel Vincent at INRIA Nancy in France. So first, to describe a bit of problem, I'll talk about embeddings for ambient sounds. Indeed, as you can see in this picture, we have little shapes representing a little part of an audio file. What we want is to do an embedding space where, like when we have an event label in audio file, we want to put close together the different part of the audio file with the same event. When we have strongly labeled data, this is possible and this is actually quite accurate, which means each little shape really represents an event. When we have weak labels in the other way around, so it means when we don't have the time boundaries of each event in an audio file, we just know that this event is in the audio file, but we don't know where or when, more precisely. It means that, for example, a little red square representing dishes is probably not containing a dishes in reality. So that makes it really hard to then after have an embedding space which is consistent, since what we want to put together is not exactly what we really want to have together. So let's talk a bit more about weak and strong labels. Weak labels are really cheap, and they are the most common labels that we have in the audio event datasets. For example, AudioSet has weak labels, and Freesound is doing crowdsourcing to gather weak annotations, and it turns out it's working really well. In the other way around, strong annotations are really expensive. Indeed, to give you a little example, when we had to do weak annotations on 10-second audio files, we had to annotate only 10 classes, so it was quite an easy task. For weak annotation, it took us between 10 and 15 seconds. For strong annotations, it took us between 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So you see how long it is to do strong annotations. Of course, it's more accurate, we would like to have a lot of them, but it's actually really hard. Crowdsourcing is also hard since the time boundaries has to be very accurate. So it's not only a mistake about the label, but it's also about time boundaries. That's why we have very limited data available at this day with strong labels. So the talk of today is what is the impact of weak labels? To answer this question, we created a dataset which only involves weak labels. We'll see later that it's really important. And then we did some experiments using weak labels to do embeddings as I presented before, but also on a classifier, more classical approach. To create the dataset, we use DSED. So DSED is composed of two things, recorded data and a sound bank to create synthetic soundscapes. In our case, we used only the synthetic part. It's composed of Freesound events, which are isolated, and the time boundaries have been verified. So we know that there is no mistake in these ones. We took the train set and we did a training validation split, and we used the evaluation set to report results. An important point is that we have only one event per audio file, on top of the background, and we have the same number of soundscapes per classes. So here is an example of the dataset. This was an example of frying. The problem with this dataset is like we still have some problems because the length of the events are not always the same. Indeed, for example, some events, as you can see on this figure, dishes, dog, alarm bell ringing are very, very short events. This is the average, this is the histogram, sorry, on the dataset I just presented to you. And the other way around, the running water and vacuum cleaner, they are very long events. So if we want to bias the labels, meaning like we want to have weak labels instead of strong labels, when we do that for running water and vacuum cleaner, it will give a lot less noise than if we do it for dishes and toilet. As an example, if I have 200 millisecond dishes and then I give the whole file, the 10-second file, the label dishes as a weak label, it means 9.8 seconds would be wrong. So that's why we created the second dataset. The second dataset is the same for all events. It means we took only 200 milliseconds of the event out of the full event length. So now we are sure that in the 10-second audio files, there is only 200 milliseconds of event. That's really interesting to really deal with the weak labels problem. So as you can hear, this is the same example with only 200 milliseconds in it. It's very short. But we had to take it this short because of the length of the smallest events. So why didn't we use existing datasets? Because in existing datasets, there is multiple problems occurring. Of course, there is co-occurring events, unbalanced classes, and also varying SNRs in the background. And we have a lot of labels which are not of interest. So all these problems make it really hard to conclude out of weak labels if we design a solution for it. And that's why here we wanted to see the influence of weak labels, but only this. So we isolated the problem by getting rid of these problems. We could have done it with real data, but it would have been really complicated. As I explained before, to have strongly annotated data for real data, it would have been really long and expensive. So the quickest way to do it was to create our own dataset from available sound we have. Let's now talk about the experiments. So in these experiments, we had 3 lengths of files to have different labels. In the first case, when we have 200 milliseconds of a file, in both little part of the dataset, we have strongly labeled data because the 200 milliseconds contain always a label. Now, when we take 1 second of audio file, this is different. When we have the first non-truncated part of the dataset, WAA, we have weak labels, but not always. As I explained before, for long labels, we won't have only weak labels. Many times it would be strong labels. However, on the second dataset, the one which have only 200 milliseconds in it, we are sure that for all events, all the time, we have only 200 milliseconds out of 1 second of audio file. And for the last one, we have mostly weak labels for WAA, except few exceptions. And WAA1 now is very complicated since we have only 200 milliseconds out of 10 seconds of file. So now let's explain a bit the model that we use for the embedding representation. I won't detail them too much since we don't want to compare models here. We just want to see if models to do embeddings work well with weak labels. So the first one is triplet model, and it uses distance loss. While prototypical model is using a classification loss to actually put a sample to the right class. That's the main difference. There are other differences, but I won't detail them here. For the classifier, we use a really simple CRNN, so I won't talk much about it. What's important is that the architecture is common for all the models. We have the same CNN of embeddings, I mean the same architecture, followed by a fully connected classifier. We have a fixed size embeddings to deal with the problem of not having the same length of audio files, 200 milliseconds, 1 second, and 10 seconds. So now, let's speak about the results a bit. When we have the sampling approaches, we can see here it's on the first data set, so the non-truncated part. I know this table is quite big, but we will focus only on some parts of it. Here, what is highlighted is the impact of weak labels at evaluation time. So the longer the evaluation segment is, and the less the sampling method is working at evaluation. If we want to see the impact of weak labels at training, we can see, for example, these two examples still on the sampling methods. When we go from 1 second to 10 seconds, we see the performance are really dropping. The problem with this data set, I explained before, is the fact that the length of events are really different. And that's why it needs more analysis for many of the cases. We can't conclude much out of this table. So let's talk now about the second part of the data set, the one with the truncated events. So here we only have 200 milliseconds on each audio file. We still see the impact of the weak labels on the evaluation part. So the longer the evaluation audio file is, and really the less performance we have. On the training part, here we focus on the sampling methods. We can see that going from 1 second to 10 seconds is really dropping the performances. And more than that, at 10 seconds, none of the sampling methods is working. Indeed, as I explained at the beginning of the talk, we have way too much noise in the labels to be able to do a distance between the embeddings, or to even do a classification in the embedding space. 9.8 seconds are wrongly labeled data, so what we do is we compare background most of the time. If we check a bit the classifier now, we also see the impact of weak labels during training, from going from 1 second to 10 seconds, but the impact is a lot less important. Also, if you check a bit the other parts of the table, you would see sometimes we have some inconsistencies. I mean, it's not showing that weak labels are bad. For example, going from 200 milliseconds to 1 second, sometimes the performance are increasing. Indeed, it's possible that the models are learning how to differentiate the foreground event to the background. So taking only 200 milliseconds is maybe not the best idea, since we also want to see a bit of the background event to be able to classify it well. So, to conclude, the weak labels is a problem of interest. We've seen that in many papers. However, we didn't see a lot of people isolating the problem. So that's what we tried to do here. Existing dataset did not fit our study, so we had to create our own little dataset. You can redo the same one, or you can even compute a new little dataset. The code is available. The sampling methods to compute embeddings are really a lot more impacted by weak labels than the classifier. It's quite easy to explain that we try to do different, like we try to compute the difference between each sample, and when we don't have the right decision in it, we don't have a label in it, we just make a difference between a background, which is very destructive for the network. And we've also seen that the first part of the data set, so the non-truncated one, it's showing that the length of the events has really a big impact on the results. So it could be really interesting to do a more finer analysis, like seeing what's the impact for each classes, the weak labels. This would be done in a future work. So I thank you very much for your attention. Here is my mail address, and I'm looking forward to speak to you during the Q&A session, or you can send me a mail whenever you want. Thank you for watching. Bye.